Come on, Carl. Well, I guess he's not going to do it. I'm going to leave it open for a little bit, though. I want you guys to hear Carl. When the sun's going down, you can hear Carl. He makes a lot of noise. When the sun's coming up, when the sun's going down. Now, turn that Samson down just a little bit because it's a little long in the tooth when it comes to pulling audio in. So, this is UCY.TV. You're listening to live Monday Night Radio. Boiler Room Radio with me, your host, Jim Funke, and the guy over there in the chair on the other side of the country from me. That's Lance Musser over there. Good evening, Lance. How are you?
Good evening, Jimmy.
So you got the clouds getting ready to roll in. You're getting ready to get your butt rained on. There was all kinds of nasty weather.
No, not getting ready. It started at, I guess about 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock last night.
Oh,
and
really?
It has not stopped. It rained from the moment we woke up all day. It just stopped raining a couple hours ago.
Yeah, Twister touched down in Mississippi last night, and they got some tornado warnings going through Pensacola and stuff today, and yeah, it's coming up there at you. So you're probably going to get rain for about the next 12, and then it should stop maybe tomorrow morning.
I was looking at that today and noticing that there was a large swath of the eastern United States just inundated with water.
Yeah,
today.
green. Just all green.
All green except for pink and white up top where it was snowing, New
Yeah.
York.
Yeah, there was some snow falling north of Oklahoma last night. I noticed that. It all stayed pretty much south of us, though. I mean, all the rain and stuff. We got spit on a little bit, but the entire bottom 2/3 of Arkansas was just completely green, and all the way down through the bottom of Louisiana. And, when you see Reed Timmer running through your town, it's not going to be a good afternoon. So all those people in southern Louisiana were probably driving the other direction from Reed. He was out there chasing those storms and stuff. And yeah, it was kind of exciting. It was kind of exciting. I like severe weather. Storms. I used to want a storm chase like mad, but I grew out of it, thankfully.
I don't know that I ever wanted to be a storm chaser, but I love sitting out on the back porch watching the weather. Yeah,
I do. There's nothing better than lightning and thunder and rain on a tin roof.
Unless you're a dog.
That's true. My dog does not dig any kind of loud bangs.
That's funny.
Anything. She's up your butt.
That's funny.
So, what's going on Wall Street tonight, man? It's
just like the weather.
Yeah.
Just like the weather, we'll roll into the
minute down, huh?
Yeah, it was everything in the red. So if you had a 401k, you lost a little bit today. If you were buying a house, it got a little bit cheaper. Just like the trend.
I think I got mine sold, so don't be jinxing me now.
Would you like to expand on that real quick?
No, because I don't want to jinx it.
Oh, okay. Well, somebody looked at it. Couple notations of what I was going to share with you tonight and the listeners. Mortgage loan origination, the lowest on record.
Ooh,
which is very interesting. We've been talking about it.
But then, yeah, we've been saying no, the banks don't give out no money anywhere. Not unless you got a shit pile of money sitting at the home already and you don't need it. Then they'll give you some because you're a good risk, right?
Origination volume is the lowest on record because of a drop in refi originations. Monthly sales, check this out. Monthly sales were essentially flat over last year, but traditional sales were up 15%. So if purchase sales are up, but the total number's down, it's obviously the refis that are no longer there.
Mm-hmm.
Credit standards have shown very few signs of loosening because I think the average let me talk about this. 30% of the loans last year went to borrowers with a credit score of 720 or below 720. Which indicates significant opportunity to expand the mortgage origination activity if available, if risk appetites allow. We've talked about it before. They start talking about less originations in mortgages. That's when they'll lower the credit standards, and then we'll start 2002 all over again from the front, which would be interesting. Last week, and we talked briefly on it, there was a ex-ABN AMRO banker. So we're into the banker desk now, two of them, actually. This guy supposedly killed his wife and daughter, and then he hung himself.
Hey, some CIA dude jumped off a building too. Did you see that?
Very interesting. And he had some deep ties, from what I've read on that too.
Mm-hmm.
There was one that just broke actually a few hours ago, 4:00 this afternoon.
Breaking news here on
a Liechtenstein banker was shot dead in the parking garage, of the bank.
Oh, I'm sure that was a lever squirrel or something. Yeah.
Was shot in the underground garage of a financial institution in Buenos Aires. So, another Liechtenstein banker was dead today. We'll see how that one really pans out here.
Was it with a nail gun?
You know, you don't ever hear about that one anymore, do you?
Just thought I'd throw that in there.
When they're talking about suicides, you don't even hear about that one right now.
Right. All right.
The longer, this is actually a pretty good one, and I want to read, so it'll take into our Manarino time, like I posted on you earlier.
All right. You want me to play Scott now, or you want to just wait till the end?
Sure. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can give you a break.
Well, no, let me go into this.
Okay, go ahead.
The level of unemployment in the United States has been declining since the year 2000. There have been moments when things appear to be getting better for a short period of time, and then the decline has resumed. Thanks to offshoring of millions of jobs, the replacement of millions of workers with technology, and the overall weakness of the U.S. economy, the percentage of Americans that are actually working is significantly lower when this century began. And even though things have stabilized at a reduced level over the past few years, it's only a matter of time until the next major wave of economic collapse strikes and the unemployment level goes even lower.
Yes.
And the truth is that more good jobs are being lost every single day in America. For example, you already heard about this. Warren Buffett is shutting down.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, what was the million?
92 million people that had a job a decade ago do not.
Don't.
Go ahead.
And I'm sure those numbers figure into this story, but you just heard about Warren Buffett shutting down a Fruit of the Loom factory in Kentucky and moving it to Honduras.
I heard that Buffett has missed the Dow for the last 8 years or something like that. He's come in under the Dow.
Really?
His investments is, yeah. I saw that on some blurb on YouTube today. I was like, really? I thought that guy was one of the richest people on the planet. He's throwing away that kind of money?
That Berkshire Hathaway, I mean, he's got so many shell companies. I think a lot of his money's hidden.
Well, I understand that, but they're just saying that that all of his bets, everything that he's bet on is missed. All of his, well, anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry. I digress. Go ahead.
No problem. But he's moving it to Honduras so he can make a little bit more money. And it's a betrayal that you see over and over again that's ripping the middle class of America to shreds.
Well, check this out, everybody. Your tidy whities are only going to last about 6 months now, too.
Exactly. But we should be thankful that things have stabilized at this lower level for the past few years. And what I mean by that is in 2002, there were 63% of the population was working.
That's not you speaking, is it?
Yes. This is the chart.
Right.
It said in 2002, 63% of the population was working. And in 2010, after 2 years after the crash, it was down to 58%, which, that's a 42%, not working. So, I mean, it kind of goes more into the lines of the numbers we've been talking about, not the Fed's numbers. But anyone believes that things have returned to normal is just being delusional. And nothing's being done about the long-term trends that are absolutely crippling our economy.
Crippling.
So I'll use the Berkshire or use the Fruit of the Loom. What are those workers supposed to do? Go on welfare? The number of Americans that are dependent on the government is already at an all-time high. In the business school, they teach you the sole responsibility of a corporation is to maximize wealth for shareholders. So when business students get into the real world, that's how they behave. But the truth is that corporations have a responsibility to treat their workers, their customers, and their communities in which they operate. This responsibility exists whether corporate executives want to admit it or not. That's big problem, I mean, that we're seeing. Because of so many of us have fallen for the lie that globalism is good, we have allowed our once great manufacturing cities to crumble and die. Just consider what's happening to Detroit. It was once the greatest manufacturing city in the history of the planet.
What's happening now to Detroit? Was this article written in 2010? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, right. It's happened to Detroit. Yeah. Now foreign newspapers publish stories about what a horror show it has become. Of course, the kind of thing is not just happening in Detroit. The truth is that it's happening all over the nation. For example, this article contains an incredible graph which shows the middle class of Chicago has steadily disappeared over the last several decades. Quiznos has filed for bankruptcy. Sbarro, which operates pizza and Italian restaurants and malls, closed 155 stores. That goes on, added on to that list that you posted earlier that we've gone over before.
The 7,
about the billion square feet missing and everything else. Ruby Tuesdays plans to close 30 restaurants because of sales in January. Unknown number of Red Lobster restaurants will be sold because it's in such bad shape that they had to issue a press release stating that the restaurant chain would not close because people have been talking about it so bad.
Imagine that.
Ralph's, a subsidiary of Kroger, is closing 15 supermarkets in the next 60 days. And Safeway closed 72 Dominique's grocery stores in the Chicago area last year alone.
Wonder what that unemployment number is going to run up to. Or down to, I'm sorry, down. I mean, it's probably going to drop below 5% with all these people getting laid off. Right? Sorry. Go ahead.
In this economic environment, it doesn't matter how smart, how educated, or how experienced you are. If you are out of work, it can be extremely difficult to find a new job. Just consider the number of people that got laid off with masters of education degrees that are now having to work 3 jobs, either driving a cab or, supermarket or retail or whatever.
Excuse me, Professor, will you pack my bread on top, please?
So what does that person need in order to find a decent job? More education? No. More experience? No. What he needs is an economy that produces good jobs. Sadly, a cold, hard reality of the matter is the U.S. economy will never produce enough jobs for everyone ever again.
Never.
That way that America used to work is long gone. It's been replaced by a cold, heartless environment where the company you work for could rip your job away at a moment's notice if they decide that'll put a few extra pennies in their pockets of their shareholders by relocating. You may have worked incredibly hard for 30 years and been super loyal to your company, but it doesn't matter anymore. All that matters is the bottom line. In the process, the middle class, and in the process, the middle class is being destroyed. But by destroying the middle class, those corporations are destroying the consumer base that their corporate empires were built upon in the first place. Very good article, I thought.
Very good. Hits the nail on the head. A little behind the times about Detroit, but other than that, it was spot on.
Well, I mean, it said, look what had happened. I mean, it's, the article is fairly recent. It was just posted today.
I know. And it's still happening to Detroit, but that coffin's already been closed. Detroit's done. Everybody knows it. Everybody that lives there knows it. The people that work for the city know it because they're all getting shafted.
If you can't drive
China's
through
buying it.
Your town or drive through any town and in where there's strip malls,
they're closed.
There's many of them that are vacant. I've seen more commercial space for lease / rent own, signs popping up just everywhere. And that's what they were talking about, that billion square feet. I'll bet they're adding to that every month.
Every week.
Well, yeah, I mean, every day technically, but, it's not going down, I don't believe.
It sure ain't going up.
No.
I mean, sales and leases. This whole town, I mean, you drive into town, I got 6 miles between me and the edge of the city. Or town, I guess it's town. And it's all, I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably 15 vacant buildings on the way into town. Just, I'm just counting 5 in the first, like maybe half mile or 3/4 of a mile.
Does it say what the businesses used to be, or have they been out that long that the signs are all gone and stuff? I mean, were they manufacturing?
Automotive repair.
Yeah.
Carpet stores, strip malls, antique boutiques, haircutting places, one steel foundry, or not foundry, but like, sold sheets and, wrought iron and cast iron and, so, just all kinds of stuff.
That's about the only business that you listed that I couldn't go into Walmart and get done all at one time. I could get my car changed and fixed, right, my hair cut, my nails done, my grocery shopping, get my hunting supplies,
get
my pet supplies.
Before you go hunting?
Well, I could get all of my camping supplies, whatever it is. I mean, all those businesses that went out of, that you're saying are vacant, except one, I could all get at one store now.
Well, you can't get the carpet at Walmart. You could buy a throw rug, maybe.
Throw rugs, you can't get a whole house carpeted, per se. You're right.
Okay. So.
But the Home Depots and the Lowe's have put the independent carpet places out of business.
There's churches here that are vacant.
Well, churches are a dime a dozen, and it requires.
But you get what I'm going. I mean, it's just everybody, right. And it seems like people are just picking up and moving from one location to another. It's like, all of a sudden the town just shuts down. Mm-hmm. It's, I don't know. Said it before. 7 million people moved out of Illinois last year. I was one of them. My mom was another one.
So, I'll tell you what, that article you dropped me, you could actually do a whole show on this. The Rantoul article you dropped me about that Air Force base.
We're going to do a show on that Friday.
Dude, man, I'll tell you what, I was reading that thing and just in utter shock that I know somebody that came from that town.
Yeah, we're going to do a show on that Friday. So
I hope that's a story that needs to get out.
Yeah. Unbelievably, heinous activities by our military, and they covered it up. And I watched them do part of it last year before I moved. I know I did. I did. And I'll tell you guys all about it. I think I got some, I don't know though, man, my phone dumped all that crap. So I don't know. I don't know if I still got pictures, but I can tell you exactly what I saw. And, if Google has updated Earth shots, you'll be able to see it on Google Earth. So
blacked out like Garcia.
No, it's not blacked out. It's Chanute Air Force Base used to be in my hometown, Rantoul. Mm-hmm. And they did some things on the backside of that base they shouldn't have done. And I think there's quite a few people in Rantoul that are going to pay for it now.
Good. Well.
No, I mean physically. Mentally.
Okay, yeah, okay. I was going to say it, not unless it's the other way around. But yeah. Be a Friday show. You definitely go into that. I mean, there's not a whole lot of there's some housing close enough to it to where it can be affected and get into the. We'll go into it Friday. We'll go into that Friday. Might dip into a little bit Wednesday. I just don't really have all my things lined up right yet. I'm trying to get somebody on actually. Very good. But, it's fascinating.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But, anyway, you got any more? I mean, was that the whole Mandarino bit?
Yeah.
Cause you're only 20 minutes into the show, man. We usually blow hard, we usually just, blow our mouths off for 20 minutes.
Yeah. That's fine. And also I wanted to throw a shout out to Chuck. I think I saw today was his birthday.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Chuck. I sent him one on Facebook and
I saw it on Skype today.
Yeah. Hope he had a good birthday.
They really wanted me to send him a gift card, but Skype really, really, really wanted me to send him a gift card. They sent me a couple notices on it.
Yeah. Come on, man. He's your friend. Send him a card. Did you
how much you love him. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let's,
dive into Scott.
Yeah. We'll give Scott his 2 minutes and 17 seconds here. It's called State Theft. This ought to be pretty good. No ad. Cross your fingers.
Hello, this is Scott and this is a Hype Report. Today's report is sponsored by the free book Ramblings of a Madman. Here are the quotes for various items. First, drones. A 375-pound military drone RQ-7 Shadow crashed in front of an elementary school in Pennsylvania. Keep in mind that this drone weighs more than 30% of a 1,150-pound Cessna. Students had already left the school at the time of the crash. However, why was the drone anywhere near an elementary school in the first place? Next, high five power. In her appearance as a so-so candidate for 2016 presidency, Hillary Clinton participated in a question and answer session with IMF Chair Christine Lagarde. It appears that felons are birds of a feather flock together. So did Hillary support the IMF financially? If so, where did this money come from? Next, Inspector General. According to a new report, Inspector General, of which there was no Inspector General for that department for over 5 years, the U.S. State Department under Hillary Clinton misplaced $6 billion. Unreliable sources state that when Hillary found out, she exclaimed, "What difference at this point does it make?" Next, Dow to gold ratio. According to Egon van Greyes, at the beginning of a hyperinflationary cycle, the stock market virtually always makes substantial gains, which is just a reflection of a sheer weight of printed money. He goes on to say that the U.S. is slowly entering its hyperinflationary phase as food prices have gone up 19% in the first 3 months of 2014. Gold will always reveal the destruction of paper money, and the Dow to gold ratio could soon start its journey to below 1 to possibly 0.5. If this is the case, we could see physical gold go ballistic. Next, radiation therapy kills children. According to a 20-year study published in the Journal of Pediatric Blood and Cancer, children diagnosed with the most common type of pediatric brain tumor, gliomas, are more likely to die from the radiation treatment than from the tumor itself. Next, vegan lie. A new report from the Medical University of Graz in Australia presents evidence that a vegan lifestyle is actually dangerous. The study found that purely vegetarian diets lead to poor general health and a diminished quality of life marred by both physical and mental problems. That explains the lunatics at PETA. Vegans suffer heart attacks, cancers, and allergies at a 50% higher rate than meat eaters. Someone please pass those beef ribs quick. Finally, please prepare now for the escalating economic and social unrest. Good day.
I could see how the question and answer session would go for the billion missing dollars.
Yeah.
Excuse me, can you tell me where this $1 billion is that's missing? Look, we're trying to fix the fundamental things for this country. Obama, we're trying to give health care to everybody. We're trying to do gun control. Why are you focusing on this? Let's focus on the real issues. We got campaign refining and just ding off into a different direction. Never answer the question. And guess what? The sons of bitches get away with it every
time.
It's enough to piss you right off that these criminals get away with robbing us blind right before our eyes, yet we fight against each other, telling somebody else that my party's better than your party.
My humans are better than your humans.
Wake the frick up.
They can't, dude. They can't. Everything, we already said this 1,000 times, man. Everything worked. All the vaccines worked. All the fluoride worked. All the school worked. Everything worked. And they're just too, they're not going to get it. Not going to get it until a bullet goes whizzing through their wall.
I had a thought yesterday on your anarchy, rules, not rulers philosophy that you've always. Right. Rules, not rulers. So, here I am sitting at a busy intersection yesterday at a stoplight, waiting my turn like an obedient person because my light's red. Now, if there were no rules and rulers and any way to enforce anything, why did I stop at that light? Why couldn't I just go through that light? And if I hit somebody and killed them, well, what are they going to do about it? I'm just going to drive off.
You missed it. You just missed it. You walked right straight past it. No rulers, only rules.
Well, who's to enforce the rules?
It's common sense, brother. You can't live with common sense? If you walk up next to the edge of a cliff, you know not to take another step, right?
Well, some of us do. And that's, okay.
Well, hey, the ones that don't, let them keep walking. Like I said, I say it all the time, man. If Johnny eats too many marbles, Johnny doesn't grow up to have kids of his own. It's survival of the fittest. That's the way things go. That's the way this planet was supposed to be from its inception. If it wasn't for Velcro shoes and bicycle helmets, the world would be a lot nicer.
You know, I just don't see it surviving. You know, there's a certain group of people that if there wasn't the fear of going to jail, why don't I run a red light? Why do I sit there like an obedient sheep? Because I'm afraid of getting a ticket or a fine. That's why anybody.
What about crashing into somebody else?
But
how
I'm
about respect
about
for other drivers?
Else.
That's what it all comes down to, man, is respect. If you can live in love and respect other human beings, then you're not going to run that red light. You're going to realize that there are certain rules that you just obey. You just do. You don't walk down the street willy-nilly banging at people with a fucking firearm. You know what I mean? You don't do stuff like that because you have common sense and you have a moral compass and you live in respect of other humans.
There's too many people that don't.
I understand.
And the only thing keeping them in line is the fear of a ticket, a fine, going to jail, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, if I run that red light and there's no other traffic around for a mile and a cop sees me, I'm still going to get a ticket. But I don't run that because I'm in fear.
You really shouldn't because it's out of your jurisdiction. But anyway, go ahead.
And I could use any other analogy, wearing my seatbelt or whatever the law is. I just don't see. I don't have enough faith in humankind that. Well, I don't either. That would work out.
This is my utopia. This is what I talk about. This is my utopia. This is when we finally gain that third strand. That's where we'll be.
And go over to fourth phase.
Right.
I'll tell you what, it would be great because I'm tired of dealing with. I'm one idiot away from going to jail sometimes.
It happens every day, brother. Honest to God, it happens every day.
And I try to think, well, they can't do anything about it because they're just an idiot or they're born foolish or.
You can't fix stupid.
Yeah.
But you can numb it with a 2x4. And some people, some people need to be smacked in the face with a brick.
Yep.
So.
I think we've got a ton of fluoride in our water here. It smells really bad. I mean, like pond water when it comes out of the sink.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's got a really bad odor to it. It's full of crap. I'm not drinking. I haven't drank that in months now.
I don't think fluoride makes it smell like that. Fluoride's got a really chemical smell to it. It's not, it doesn't smell like pond water, I don't think. I don't know. It's been so long since I drank fluoridated water. I can't even tell you. And with the well I got here, it's just delicious. I still run it through my Berkey, but it's delicious anyway.
Does it have a bunch of particles floating in it?
Nope.
Really?
And I'm over 900 feet.
If you filter it, would it?
No. I mean, when it comes out of the tap, dude, it's clear. It's crystal clear.
My uncle in Indiana had well, and you drink, and everything was red. The bowls, the sink, and you would hold it, and it would look like sea monkeys floating around in it because of all the iron and stuff.
Yeah, baby. That's good stuff, man. Crunchy water. Nothing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I drank the hell out of it.
I'm sure your intestines loved you.
Yeah, probably.
They did. I'm telling you, that shit's good for you.
Yeah. I mean, I liked it. I thought it had a great taste.
Yeah. And I trust Mother Nature more than I trust any municipality. So I'll dip my face into a lake and drink before I'll pull anything out of a tap in a town.
Fish pee in there.
It's true. It's true. You can't deny that. You just can't deny that. They probably pee in my well water too.
Yeah, there's a natural filtration system in a pond though, I believe.
Right. Yeah, it's true. So if I see any floaties, I won't dip my face in and drink. I'll make sure I swim away from the fish. Drink over there.
That's funny.
What else you got for tonight, man? I really didn't.
Well, I saw, and this will be coming more and more, and I think you actually had somebody talk about it on your show, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. And it's that American Spring thing that's coming up.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll tell you what. I mean, if you listen, or did you read that link that I dropped to you today?
Yes, I did. I perused through it. I didn't read the whole thing because it was quite lengthy. But I did get to the end and I asked you, who's this chick? And I think it's a chick. I hope it's a chick. If a guy grew up with this last name, wow, man. I mean,
yeah,
boy named Sue kind of stuff. But, Hillary Riley, she's a lieutenant colonel or something, colonel retired, Hillary Riley, and she's supposed to be behind this whole American Spring thing. We'll go ahead and dip into it if you want to.
Well, I mean, I haven't done enough research on it yet, but the way that it was laid out in this article, they want 10 million people to show up on this particular day, all of them unarmed, and
they're looking for a fight. They're trying to pick a fight with the government, and the government's been trying to pick a fight with us for 10 years.
They are trying to pick a fight, and they're trying to do a Turkey, or they're trying to do a Ukraine, or they're trying to do a Libya, or an Egypt. I mean, they're trying to do one of that because basically they're saying we want 10 million people to come unarmed, come spiritually armed, but come unarmed and demand that we replace it with the people of the caliber of Cruz, all these basically Tea Party, senators and congressmen, and overthrow the government. And that out of the 10 million, they want 1 million to stay there on the National Mall for as long as it takes.
We'll dive into this for just a real quick second. Now, just to let everybody know, this came from before it's news.
And it didn't leak anywhere else. Yeah. And it didn't leak anywhere else. So
there's nothing else on here, but
right.
This is called Operation American Spring. To patriots, black, white, red, yellow, brown, male, female, civilian, military, truckers, bikers, militias, veterans, old, young, every American that loves freedom and liberty. That's the opening line. Mission: restoration of constitutional government, rule of law, freedom, liberty of the people, by the people, for the people, from despotic and tyrannical federal leadership. Assumptions: millions of Americans will participate. American veterans and patriots are energized to end the tyranny, lawlessness, and shredding of the U.S. Constitution. Government is not the target. It is sound. Corrupt and criminal leadership must be replaced. I don't agree with that. Government. Break that word down and Google it, people. See what it means. It means to limit your mind.
You gotta have it. The sheeple, there's too many uneducated Americans. You gotta have a government, but I'm not convinced in it. And maybe in Iceland it would work, but I don't think here.
Those in power will not hesitate to use force against unarmed, peaceful patriots exercising their constitutional rights. Patriots may be killed, wounded, or incarcerated. There is no hope given today's technology of secrecy for the effort. We do not want it secret. Concept of operations. Right there, they're just telling you, man, you're if you show up to do this thing, you're liable to get shot.
Yep.
Or you're going to jail. And I guarantee you one of those two things is going to happen.
I guarantee
Unless you're a very fast runner.
I guarantee you.
Phase 1. This is so ridiculous, man. I can't even believe it.
Don't even read it. I mean, don't read it.
No, that's cool, man. That's cool. I want people to see what's out there.
You had somebody come on the show that talked about this particular thing.
Yeah. And he was talking about a whole different group of people, though, I think. I mean, it's Operation American Spring, but he was talking about General Valley and some other wahoos. I mean, that's why I said, who the hell's this Hillary?
Yeah, I'm not too sure that this is too far off what that other guy wanted either.
Yeah. We'll see. Let's see. We'll keep going on this for a minute. I want everybody to hear how stupid this shit sounds. Phase 1. Field millions, as many as 10 million patriots who will assemble in a peaceful, nonviolent, physically unarmed, spiritually, constitutionally armed display of unswerving loyalty to the U.S. Constitution and against the incumbent government leadership in Washington, D.C., with a mission to replace with law-abiding leadership, go full bore, no looking back, steadfast in the mission. Okay. We'll break this down in just a second, I guess. Phase 2, 1 million or more of the assembled 10 must be prepared to stay in D.C. as long as it takes to see Obama, Biden, Reid, McConnell, Boehner, Pelosi, and Attorney General Holder removed from office. Consistent with the U.S. Constitution as required, the U.S. Congress will take appropriate action to execute appropriate legislation, deal with vacancies, or U.S. states will appoint replacements of positions vacated consistent with the established constitutional requirements. Now, let me just clue you people in that wrote this article. Congress has a 4% approval rating. So you're gonna disassemble the the administration and leave Congress in place to fill the vacant? Are you stupid? Are you stupid? Anyway, I keep going. Phase 3. Those with the principles of West, Cruz, Dr. Ben Carson, Lee DeMint, Paul, Governor Walker, Sessions, Gowdy, Jordan should comprise a tribunal and assume positions of authority to convene investigations, recommended appropriate charges against politicians. Again, I say, are you stupid? Who the hell wrote this article?
Let me ask you a question.
Just a minute. Harry Riley, Colonel U.S. retired. Colonel of what? This is a bullshit article. Colonel of what? You would say U.S. Army retired, U.S. Navy retired, U.S. Marines retired, U.S. what? Colonel USA retired. Harry Riley, who the fuck are you? Go ahead, Lance. Sorry.
Okay. Let me play devil's advocate here for a minute.
Sure.
We all want our country back. Every post we make on Facebook, all the other people, the 3% that you think, the 3% that are awake want our country back. What other means?
Demand. We demand our country back.
But how do we demand it? By going on fucking Facebook? Or by assembling.
I've been saying it for a long time, man. Look at what I'm doing. What am I doing?
Hold on. It's not working fast enough.
No, it's not.
How did it work in other countries? How did it work in
those people didn't have a vaccine program? Those people don't have fluoride in their water. Those people are armed to the teeth usually. Those people have been a part of their, they stay involved. They stay involved. They kind of wrote it out a little bit, but look at when the banks close and the troika comes in and takes 70% of your savings, you get a little pissed off and you start burning shit down in your own town.
Our country started by overthrowing the existing government. We've all talked about it.
It was still a scam from the word go. You and I both know that.
And we've all talked about it, that the current system needs to go. That's why the Constitution was in place, so you could overthrow and replace a tyrannical government. Jimmy, what other method is going to work?
We're still a part of the system back then. You know that.
What other method would work? Nothing.
Let's try something else, man. We tried
you have
this.
Somebody
we
here
tried this.
That's standing up and wanting to take back the country, and you're putting them down. And I mean, yes, it would be, it would turn out bad for a lot of people, but you back somebody into a corner enough and they get like a caged, a cornered animal.
We've talked about this forever. Have you ever read The Art of War?
There is no way that the government's going to go away peacefully. That's why they won't allow arms on base, I don't think. Because
have you ever read The Art of War?
They don't want these people waking up. Go ahead.
Have you ever read The Art of War? By Sun Tzu?
I think I did like 25 years ago.
You should read it again. Because then you'd know what I'm talking about. This is not the way you fight a battle. This is not the way you do it.
So how do you do it?
You win by attrition. You outlast your enemy.
We're not outlasting
in the basic sense.
They've got us right where they want us.
Not if people do what I do. Ignore the government. I've been saying it since I started on radio. Ignore the government, man, because they ignore you. They don't listen to a goddamn word you say, people. They don't listen to nothing. Doesn't work. They don't listen to nothing.
Replacing them might work. Ignoring them doesn't work.
If enough of us did, it would, because they wouldn't have nothing. They wouldn't have nothing.
If 10 million people showed up at the mall, that would get the word out too that we're tired of our government. And it would get other nations in the world reporting it, because our own media wouldn't report it. I mean,
you can't get 10 people to agree on what to have on their pizza. How are you going to get 10 million people to show up at the mall?
So you're saying status quo. I mean, you're saying do nothing.
No, I'm saying.
How are you going to wake them up? How are you going to wake them up other than getting out there and protesting?
Look, man, we can talk about this until we're both blue in the face, man. And we've done it before, but you and I both know, and you know down in your heart, this is never going to happen. We're never going to get this country back until it comes apart.
We can't get enough people together.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. We can talk about this until we're blue in the face. This whole American Spring thing. I mean, it's going to take something else to happen. It's going to take the hammer dropping. It's going to take the collapse of the dollar. It's going to take some kind of biological attack on this country or some kind of nuclear attack on this country. I don't think it's going to go nuclear. I think it's going to be biological, but
you cut off the food stamps to people, there'd be enough riots because there would be enough. There'd be 10 million people there. You cut off food stamps.
Yeah, but the government's not going to do shit about that. They're going to let them kill each other. They don't care. They don't care. The government's going to have to be up against a wall, and it's not going to be the people in this country that do it. It's going to be foreign interests that do it. It's going to be the drop of the dollar. That's what's going to set it off. I don't know how it's going to happen. I really, honest to God, don't know how it's going to happen. But that's going to be because the people in this country are too distracted with their TVs and their beers and their Saturday night football games and Sunday afternoon football games and whatever the hell else they want to watch to get off their asses and do anything about it. They just bitch on Facebook, like you said, or Twitter or whatever.
People were distracted in Turkey. People were distracted in Ukraine. People were distracted in...
Not like in this country.
Not like in this country, granted. But there became a point where enough of them realized it wasn't the whole country that showed up to riot in those cities. So, I mean, it was a small portion of the people that showed up that they're pissed off with their government, and it worked.
Well, I'm not going to beat this thing to death, but I get where you're going. Like I said, it's a whole different culture. Those are super way different cultures than we have over here. That's like trying to pull this shit in Japan. I don't think it'd really go over that far in Japan. They don't let them get away with too much over there because of the culture. Well,
I mean, if mainstream media doesn't report on it, did it ever happen? Because, there wouldn't be one camera down there.
I'm talking about distractions and shit. That's what I'm talking about. Who's going to show up? Who showed up for Adam Kokesh? That's stupid.
No, there's probably 1,000 people that showed up. For his Kokesh, other rallies.
He was by himself, brother. Standing there with a camera, getting himself arrested.
Rallies. Yeah, for the other rallies.
The Million Mask March. Yeah. How many, Kevin Allen, I don't know if you're listening, brother. If you are, type it in the chat room if you're in the chat room. How many people showed up for the Million Mask March? How many people showed up for the Million Man March when the African Americans tried to have that?
300,000.
That ain't even close, man. That ain't even half.
A third.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The only way you could get 1 million people to show up anywhere is if they were giving out free Wi-Fi. I'm serious, man. Yeah, it is kind of funny, but I'm serious. I'm serious, dude. I'm serious. That's the only way you could do it. Or flat screen, or an Xbox, or
flat screen would be.
You can if it was okay. Look, if we had this whole get together at every Macy's on the day after Thanksgiving, we could get some people to show up. But that's when it would have to be, because you'd have to sneak it in between buying all their shit for Christmas on Black Friday. That's the only way you're going to get that many people to show up, dude. Because that's when they all show up. They show up for them sales, I mean, if you could add something in, like maybe 2 bags of freedom and a free ShamWow, they might go for it then.
Well, you get too many people upset, with the government making too much noise, then that's where the government starts looking for a false flag that says, all right, how do we rally these people behind us again and, attack another nation?
That's why there's going to be some before. That's why there's going to be some kind of false flag.
Oh, we firmly believe that. As
soon as Russia goes, no more dollar, then it's on. And they're right there, man. I mean, we keep flicking boogers at them over Ukraine.
There was some, if you want to just break onto that for 1 second, there was some news about that today. There's some pipeline that the EU put a freeze on today. It goes to the Black Sea, and effectively it bypasses Ukraine.
Goes to Crimea.
Exactly. And the EU's putting a block on it, and
the EU doesn't have anything to do with Crimea.
This just came out in the last couple of days, so we'll see what happens about it. But
some of it might be the one that runs
care of us first.
It might be the one that skirts along the border there between Crimea and Ukraine.
Well, they're saying we want you to, to build this thing. We want you to pull back all your troops and do this and do that. And he's like,
kiss my ass.
Yeah, no.
He's, hey, shut off the gas to Eastern Europe and see how far they get. Because he supplies about 70% of the gas that Eastern Europe uses.
They did, unless Ukraine goes with Russia, he more than doubled their gas prices already.
Well, that's because he's pissed off at them, but I'm talking about the EU. I mean, go ahead and shut it off to Italy and, Spain and Portugal and all, go ahead and do that. And then, come over here and get our frack gas. Come over and see how much that costs you to tank that shit across the Atlantic. Mm. So, if you want to pay triple, that's what you're looking at. And that's what the Troika said when they first went in there and gave Ukraine $15 billion, right? We're going to triple your cost of living for everybody across the board. All wages, all state wages frozen for 5 years. You can't bitch about it or we'll fire you.
We've talked about the petrodollar, and now that Russia's selling outside the petrodollar, more and more nations are going to do it because they realize they can get away with it. Just a matter of time before the collapse of the dollar because of that. So
I'm getting some attention. I love it. So,
do I know?
Nothing. I was just talking to myself a little bit. What else is it going to take? I mean, what else is it going to take? If we can't get people to understand how far that this country has fallen and how many freedoms have been lost and how many,
but that's what
rights they have to give away.
That's what that guy's trying to do. It's not just about waking enough people up by doing
good posts on Facebook. You want to go ahead and get a million people thrown in prison? You think that's going to make any difference? I mean, you're going to send all these.
Did anybody think it was going to be a peaceful revolution?
Then why go unarmed?
Last time.
Then why go unarmed? Why go unarmed?
Because peaceful protests are the way to get it done.
But you still have the right to self-protection. And an unlawful arrest can be resisted to the point of taking the officer's life if necessary.
True, but you'll get beat up and killed there. You do something like that.
There's 10 million of them.
You would hope, but
not unless they're going to have some MRAPs sitting off firing 50s at them.
It's got to start somewhere. Even if they get 5,000 people to show up, at least Facebook.
They'll have more than that. They'll have more than that blue helmets.
Well, it doesn't matter. At least and then we can show, okay, look, we're in a police state. We've got 5,000 people here and 25,000 cops making sure that they don't leave this square of grass. So even if it's 5,000 people, it's got to start somewhere. And even if mainstream media doesn't report it, Facebook will be all over it, just like they are with that big protest that went through downtown New York City. I bet you didn't see anything on the evening news about that. But there was up to, I don't even know, that some people are saying 1 million people that showed up in New York to protest the SAFE Act.
Was it 1 million?
I don't know. I mean, you can't get a straight answer, but from the photos, there's a lot of people. It was enough people to garner a news story on the evening news, and it wasn't. It wasn't on Good Morning America. It's not on any of those stations. Because it's people standing up to a corrupt government, and they don't want to show that and feed the fire.
Because the MSM works for the government.
Well, yeah.
So, okay, I'll play devil's advocate with you. So we get, let's say we get 1 million people to show up. And they go to the mall. and they circle Congress or whatever the hell they're going to do. Then what? I mean, the police are going to be there, right? And they're going to be standing tough like a bunch of bulldogs. Mm-hmm. And they'll garner themselves, and they'll close ranks, and they'll get everybody in one location and protect them. And then so what? Then when you go in there and try to take them out and remove them, what? They start cutting people down with gunfire, and because it's not going to come to hauling them off in a bunch of paddy wagons, man. They're not going to have enough resources for that. You know what I mean? If 1 million people show up, the police are going to make a barricade and not move. They're going to call for backup. You'll have whoever they can, they'll have regular army come in if they have. So how's that going to work? We can have a revolution on the front lawn of Congress.
I don't know.
A bunch of unarmed guys sitting behind, cardboard cutouts going pew, pew, pew and dodging real bullets.
It's just like I know you've seen that post where the protesters laid down their shields and everything else and protested with the protesters.
The cops?
I mean, get enough. Yeah. It was in Taiwan or something like that. I mean, it was.
Yeah, it wasn't here.
No, it wasn't here. It was in a foreign country. But the people were rioting for or protesting for something that was totally justified, which is what these people want to do. And enough police saw that and they sided with them. I mean, I'm not saying that's going to happen. Don't get me wrong, but just talking doesn't do anything. It's going to require action. Whether peaceful.
Yeah, I still think
totally peaceful.
I still think half of this country believes that everything's hunky dory. You know what I mean? The people.
Okay. If the other half that don't believe that could, not even the other half because they're all spread out over the other rest of the country. I mean, it'd be nice to see 1 million people get up there, but I doubt you'd ever get that many. But maybe not the first time, maybe not the second time. Something's got to happen.
Yeah, but I just don't see it, man. I mean, I don't see it. We've been bitching and moaning and complaining like this for years and years and years, and it ain't happened yet.
They've done nothing about it because they answer to nobody because they keep us dumbed down because they know that if enough people woke up, and who was it? George Bush or somebody that said, if they knew the stuff that we'd done, they'd hang us from the rafters or something like that. I can't remember who said it.
Yeah.
But I think it was George Bush Sr. So, it's true that people come out and tell us. We know that it's true, but cognitive dissonance won't allow us to wrap our minds around the thought that it's true.
It's true. I've been saying it for over a year. Lance, you've been saying it for several months now. How long have you been on the show?
6 at least. I mean, the truth exists whether you believe it or not. Lies only exist because you believe them.
That's right. And we don't have to keep changing the truth to make it fit our agenda like they do the lies. I saw a great meme about Obamacare, something that's forced down the American people's throats, unconstitutional from the word go. The government said that they got their 7 million to sign up, which is a lie. But they, how many times did they have to postpone the signing deadline and do this and do that and exchange this and waiver that and change this and, fudge the numbers here and, how many, yeah, sure, you're going to hit your goal if you do all that shit to hit it. Unconstitutional. If you signed up for it, you're a fool. You're an absolute fool. Did you sign up, Lance, by your deadline?
I mean, my wife's insurance is through her work. Our insurance is through her work.
So you didn't have to worry about it, no?
No.
Did anybody out there in our chat room sign up for Obama Snare? We got a couple minutes left. Hopefully the 30-second delay will let me get something out there.
I got a quick analogy for you.
Go
you know,
for it.
your analogy on getting hurt and signing for Obamacare on the way to the hospital?
Yeah.
Because it is insurance, correct?
Correct.
Let's say you own your home outright, which you do, and you don't have any homeowner's insurance on it, but you pull up in the driveway and notice it's on fire. So are you going to call your insurance company and say, hey, I need to get a policy on this home? It's on fire, but it hadn't really burned all the way down yet. So, I mean, if you look at health insurance the same way, it's insurance. I mean, you got to be paying something for health care, but I think we'd have to agree that the prices on it are more than double what they should be. But, you know, insurance is insurance, and you can't do it with a car. You can't do it with a home. Why should you be able to do it with health insurance? I think everyone should have to pay for health insurance, but it needs to be a quarter or half of what these premiums are and not make it a for-profit industry.
Oh, man, I don't know, dude. I don't know.
I mean, think about it. It's insurance. And in that analogy of the house burning down, you can't, I mean, it's the same comparison. I mean, really.
I got you. I see where you're coming from. I'm sitting here trying to piece it together in my mind, because I look at my utopia and I try to worm that into my utopia, and it's not fitting.
Right.
You know, it might take me a minute to worm it around it. It's just not fitting in my utopia right now. So that's why I said, I don't know, man. You know, I got the stairways to heaven built, and, you know, I don't need no wobbly step. I just don't trust anything to do with the government, man. I don't trust any kind of monetary system. I think that you should be able to barter for what you need. And hey, Jack, look, if you fell off your roof raking leaves, you know, out of your gutters or whatever, then you go down to Doc, you know, Samson's place, and you take a couple of pigs with you when you go, because you got to get that bone reset, and he's going to need some bacon.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. No insurance involved in that shit.
That'd be good if
you're
were
unconscious when you hit the ground.
Size of that we are, yeah.
Well, we're getting ready to be.
That's for sure. It's coming.
So that's the way I see it. You know, and call me crazy. You can call me crazy all you want to, man. But that's the way I feel like living my life. And I don't think anybody else can. Whoops. Well, I guess I'll have to finish that on Wednesday, right? Thanks, Lance. I appreciate you, brother. Did a hell of a job with those articles, man. I love it.
Love.
Stay tuned, everybody. Turboville's reruns, or Turboville's live next, or not live, but his show's next. And I think we got some Prepper Chicks after dark. Anti-Media Radio. UCY.TV.